Hello everyone, if you're seeing me for the first time, this is Irina. I am a historian and a history teacher. I also speak a couple of languages, Scandinavian languages mainly, and this is my little channel on stuff related to the Norse and Germanic world. If you like what I post, feel free to explore some other videos I posted and also subscribe and maybe also go to my TikTok page. So today I'm going to try to answer a question, which is not an easy question, but I did get it a couple of times on Facebook. It's about the symbol known as the Valknut. I received the question of whether it would be okay to get it as a tattoo. I don't really know how to answer this question, so I'm just going to start by saying something about this symbol. Oh, and the reasoning behind it, why you should get it as a tattoo, would be because it is associated with Odin mainly, and with values such as strength and endurance and a strong masculine symbol in the Viking Age. At any rate, we don't really know what the symbol was called because Valknut is a modern concept. It is a Norse word, but it is used in recent historiography about the Viking Age. So it comes from Valr, which is dead. You also have it in the name of the hall, of the Valhall. Knutur is obviously a knot. So it would be the knot of the slain, and this is the way you're going to find it in a lot of sources if you read online. And you will find it as a symbol of Odin, as a symbol of death and of sacrifice, magical binding. There are also theories about it actually representing the world tree Yggdrasil. Anyway, the point is that we don't really know what it is because the picture stones, so not rune stones, where we find this symbol, don't really offer us any clue regarding what it meant. So we have, for example, Tengelgorda stone on the island of Gotland, where we can see a procession of warriors. You can see it there on the screen. And we also have the Stora Hammars stone 1, where we apparently have a sacrificial scene. There are a couple of elements which would suggest that. We again have some warriors, some birds, a spear, a man holding a spear and performing a sacrifice on another man, and then somebody hanged on the right side. These elements would suggest it's somehow related to Odin, but then again, we can't really say for certain whether this is really an Odinic sacrifice, for which we have references in mostly later sources, in the sagas, for example, in the saga of King Gautrek and others as well. Anyway, they did perform human sacrifices anyway. That's also attested archaeologically. There are pits which demonstrate this. But as for the connection of the symbol with this death cult of Odin, we don't really know. And the other stone doesn't really invoke, to me at least, the feeling that it would be exclusively related to death. As a matter of fact, there are many objects on which we can find the symbol. In the Oseberg ship burial, you're also going to find it, for example, on a bedpost. There are also links to horses on other Gotland stones. So yeah, the question remains, was it really only related to death, or was it really more complex than we imagine, but we have no clue on how to interpret it. So unless somebody comes along and clarifies it, there is not much to say about it. Interestingly, there is also a term in Norwegian, valknute, which is actually used to designate some Norwegian textile designs. And this design, you can see it in the picture here, is actually a pattern with looped knots in a square. So yeah, I don't know if it fits a tattoo. It could. I mean, it's a nice symbol, I guess. But if you are going to tattoo it just to point out some kind of symbolism, might be a little far-fetched. This symbol has other issues as well. Unfortunately, as with many other symbols from Norse mythology and runes and yeah, whatever else you can think of related to this culture, they have been extensively used and abused by right-wing extremist scenes. So you are going to see a lot of people from the right-wing scenes also using the symbol. Of course, there are also other scenes using it, so in heavy metal, in neo-pagan scenes as well. It has a lot to do with the context. In the right extremist scene, you're often going to find it in association with things like blood and soil, blood and honor, anything related to these topics of ancestry and manliness, masculinity, hypermasculinity, this idealized past, which they use in their political agenda. And this is very irritating. It is absolutely maddening for anyone authentically interested in the Viking Age to see how these symbols throughout history have been used, reused, and abused. Some of them compromised to the point that you're not allowed to use them anymore, such as the Sikru, the double one, symbol for the Schutzstaffel. Or the Odal rune, which was, among other things, a symbol of the Hitlerjugend. Many other runic symbols, also such as the Mother rune as well, the rune for man, also for some divisions of the SS. Anyway, you're going to find a lot of these in the Verfassungsschutz, so in this authority dealing with the protection of the constitution. In Germany, I attached a link in the description. You can check that out, which symbols are considered problematic. Thor's hammer, yeah, I guess again, one more example of symbols being abused to fit a political agenda. I've also been asked whether I have any connections to the scene, because I do enjoy wearing Mjolnirs as well, and it is really frustrating, because these symbols have such a long history of misuse and misinterpretation that anyone studying it nowadays kind of seems this need to justify themselves on why they're doing it, and to explain that it's a purely scholarly interest. Well, anyway, maybe I'm going to do a separate video about this runic symbols and other symbols from Norse mythology used in National Socialist and neo-Nazi ideology. I do have a video about runes, though, about this idea of runes being something magical and some kind of connection to a lost past, to a white European past, which never existed, but nevertheless, yeah, these people tend to link such symbols to it, to their own concept of the world as being something uniform, or should be something uniform, and they tend to link them to this idea of the superiority of the Norse/Germanic race. Again, concepts which should have been abandoned, that should have been abandoned a long time ago. But anyway, coming back to the previous topic, I've also seen this symbol in pretty horrible tattoos. So I've seen a lot of rubbish online. So I've seen this symbol combined, for example, with images of Ragnar from Vikings. It looks pretty terrible to my mind. I've also seen it combined with symbols that have nothing to do with Norse mythology, such as this one here, the Ægishjálmur, which is very popular among many. This is actually an Icelandic magic stave from the 17th century. They were spread throughout Europe. It's not something specifically Norse or Icelandic, and Vikings would not have identified it if they had seen it, or in combination with runes which are not the runes of the younger Futhark used by the Vikings, but belonging to the elder Futhark used to write Proto-Germanic, which is actually a different language. They're interconnected, but it's like the ancestor of Old Norse, Old English, and others. So yeah, if you really want to make a tattoo with this symbol, try not to combine it with things that just don't fit the context. And again, yeah, be careful with using it, because like I said, it's also used in contexts which are not that innocent. So yeah, I wouldn't use it, for example. Not necessarily because it is very used by neo-Nazis and other extremist groups, but because of the simple fact that it's way too common. It's become way too common, and it doesn't really show that you have a very, very deep interest in this age. So one thing I would do is, for example, to look at some rune stones and take my inspiration from there, because I would then have something more original, more authentic, and I would show that I'm not only interested in these symbols which are pretty commonplace and mainstream, and also somewhat controversial. So I would look at runestones, for example, like Tullstock runestone, where we have a ship with a beast. I would look at the Skoeng runestone, where we have some pretty cool runes inside snakes with snake heads. I would look at the Hugby runestone, where we have these intricate patterns, intertwined models with beasts and gripping beasts, which were very popular in the Viking Age, and Vikings would have recognized them if they had seen them. Then again, we could also combine Norse symbols with Christian symbols. Yeah, the Norse did it. They didn't have any problems with it. So we have the Lingsberg runestone. Yeah, like here in the image, you see you have a cross there combined with all kinds of Norse patterns. The Böksta runestone, where you have a man hunting on horseback. You can find innumerable examples of Viking art in several Viking styles. Yeah, so you have the Oseberg style, you have the Borre style, you have the Jelling style, and you can inspire yourself from. You can take your inspiration from these. Just don't use what everyone else is using. Just be a little more creative and show that you have an authentic interest in this time period, so that it does not look like a kitsch with all these mashups between very generic symbols, which many times don't have anything to do with one another. So yeah, this would be my recommendation about having this this tattoo. Again, I must insist on the fact that we don't know what it means. So it might mean something for you personally. It definitely means something for those right-wing losers who are using it. But we don't really know what it meant. There is one theory that it might have had something to do with the heart of a giant. Sorry, stop there for a bit. So that it might have had something to do with the heart of a giant, Hrungnir, mentioned by Snorri. We have, I quote, hjarta av horðum steini, so a heart of hard stone, och tindött med trimmun hornum, and designed with 3 horns, så sem sedan gert ristubragð, which then became a design, a pattern. I don't know, is this it? I don't think we have enough evidence, and I really don't see the connection between Hrungnir, who was an enemy of Thor, and Odin here, or Odin's cult for that matter. I would ask Snorri if I had the opportunity, but until then, yeah, be careful with this kind of symbols, and try to be more creative. That's what I would do. If you like me rambling about this kind of stuff, subscribe and help me grow this channel. Cheers to you!